Appreciate you folks joining us today. I'll jump right in. My focus for the presentation for the next 10 minutes or so is going to be on network observability and end user experience for healthcare. And just to kick things off, I decided to have a little bit of a conversation with a chat bot. And I asked actually a couple different chat bots for their expertise on what are the challenges that healthcare IT teams face. And I thought this one particular response was aptly worded. Healthcare organizations face a myriad of IT challenges. Now, myriad's not a word I use every day, so I looked that one up, and it was indeed fitting. A countless or extremely great number. Sounds about right, doesn't it? So, what are some of those myriad of challenges? I asked a couple different chatbots that question and got back some interesting answers. We're obviously not going to go through these in any detail, but the point is, look at the wide variety and diversity of challenges that are faced. Everything from supply chain management to data security and privacy, compliance-related issues, wearable devices, cloud migrations or reverse migrations, whatever the case may be, change management. We heard a couple mentioned today. John from CloudBrink was talking about managing quality of experience in hybrid environment or for hybrid workers and in hybrid application models. Robert mentioned some congestion challenges that were being faced during certain hours. So it's really quite the list. But how does the AI generated list compare to the other kind of AI, actual intelligence from actual human beings? I asked one of the Viavi systems engineers to send me some notes from a meeting, an initial discovery call that he had with the company that's now a Viavi customer, just to see what kinds of challenges and what kinds of issues this healthcare organization was facing. And these are from those notes. Again, incredible variety of challenges, everything from just the basics of being able to identify and resolve problems faster, to being able to understand what normal performance looks like, being able to automatically identify kind of where in the stack a problem may lie. Is it an application problem? Is it a network problem? Being able to resolve tickets the first time around. So, if you look at this combination of what AI says and what real people say, I think the point is clear. There is a growing list of challenges that healthcare IT faces. And in the mix here, in this conversation, we have to realize the reality is that for many organizations, there's an expectation that all of our applications and services are going to perform efficiently and reliably at all times, that new technology rollouts and updates are going to happen on schedule or ahead of schedule. And if, God forbid, something does slow down or break, it's going to get fixed fast. And we're going to do all this with pretty much the team and the tools we have today, because in most cases, budgets are not increasing and staff sizes are not increasing. So this is a very real part of the equation. So what has that caused some to do? What some have done is take kind of a back to basics approach. And just as one example here, our old friend, the packet. Packets have been used for years along with other commonly available data sources like NetFlow or SNMP acquired data. These data sources have been around literally for decades. And in some cases, we're seeing, because companies have kind of a challenge to consolidate their tool set to do more with less, they're going back to some of these core technologies like protocol analysis and looking at packets. They are still the ultimate source of truth. Why is that? Well, whether you're trying to solve a multi-tier application problem, you're trying to hold a vendor accountable for a problem that isn't your fault, or you're investigating suspicious traffic, or you're trying to document the impact of a breach, packets are still the court admissible, undeniable source of truth. And so people are looking at how they can make the most out of packet analysis. But let's take a step back for a second and think about the reality of that. Though some of you on this webinar may recognize this Wireshark screen or something similar. Personally, I've been looking at packets for most of my professional career, so I like what I see here. I can fondly recall many problems that we've solved using this kind of view. But for others of you, you may say, "Oh, heck no, I don't ever want to have to solve a problem this way. I don't know what this stuff means, and I hope I never do." So, when it comes to protocol analysis, some of our staff may have expertise here. Some of our staff may have absolutely no clue what to do with this information, or may be very inefficient, even if they know the basics. So, is this how you want to understand the quality of experience that John talked about earlier? Is this how you want to answer the question, how is Epic or Cerner or Meditech or our patient portal performing in the Northeast region? Probably not, right? This is a data source that has a more specialized use case in mind, usually in-depth troubleshooting or forensic level analysis for either performance or security reasons. So what's an alternative? Well, what some people have done is they've taken an approach of using the packets when they need them, but what they use kind of as their front line of defense, or the initial thing they look at on their dashboard, are KPIs, key performance indicators. Some vendors make a big deal about the fact, hey, we got a new release that just came out and there's 12 new KPIs on the dashboard. KPIs, again, can serve a valuable purpose. If you're responsible for service level agreements, you may need KPIs to be able to prove that you're meeting those service level objectives. SLAs or KPIs rather, can be very helpful in understanding when we've had a big change in normal behavior, something that needs investigation. There's KPIs that have obvious value. If I see all of a sudden network latency has skyrocketed, or the number of retransmissions has gone up, or the number of drop packets has gone up, those are good things to know. But again, will a dashboard full of KPIs help you understand if a user reported problem is a real problem, if it's happening now, how many users does it impact, how severely is a service degraded for our patients or for our clinicians or for anyone else in the organization? Will it tell you how to prioritize issue A versus issues B, C, and D that you're dealing with? So again, the point is KPIs, useful, packets, useful, but let's use them for their intended purpose and not try to use them to analyze and solve issues related to things like end user experience or the overall performance of a service across the network. What's a better alternative? Well, what we've done is at Viavi, we've taken an approach to say, let's automate the analysis of the packets. Let's automate the analysis of the KPIs for you. And the views that we provide our users, here's an example of a top-level dashboard, are designed to tell you exactly where you have an issue, how severe that issue is, how many users or sites, locations, clinics, hospitals are affected, how long this has been going on, so that you have everything that you need in order to be able to prioritize this issue versus others. And in this case, obviously on this dashboard, we've got an issue here with our medical records application there on kind of the bottom center. And if we wanted to investigate that further, we provide something called an end user experience scorecard. And what that is designed to do is tell you very quickly where the problem domain lies. Automated domain isolation will tell you, is this a network problem? In this case, there's some issues with the network. It's not scoring a perfect 10, but the real problem here lies in the server domain. There's a problem with one or more of the servers. Actually, there's multiple problems, but the one you need to focus on is the fact that the server is unresponsive during connection setup. If we wanted to see this particular service in context, we provide on-demand application dependency mapping so that you can see the entirety of the service architecture from the users all the way through to the back end, whether that be in the cloud or be in an on-premise data center. In this particular case, the point I wanted to illustrate is the red lines are over on the left side where the users are, the inclination that many might have would be, okay, the problem then is with the web front end, I should go focus there. Well, in these complex application architectures, those initial symptoms can be misleading. If we have delays or degradations occurring on the back end, that's probably where we want to start our investigation, because those performance problems certainly aren't going to get better as you get closer to the front end of the service architecture. Oftentimes, if you clean up the slowdowns on the back end, the problems on the front end take care of themselves. So we give you that holistic view of the entire service and how it's performing, and give you the ability again to automatically identify the problem domain. And if you need to get right down to the individual conversation with the individual server and understand why is this one particular Oracle query taking over a second for a response, that's the level of detail we can give you. So ultimately, we're leveraging the packets that I talked about at the outset, but we're not asking you to go look at all the packets and figure this out. We're trying to do that work for you as often as possible. So the story I'm telling today isn't really an or story. You need to choose packets or KPIs or some form of automated analysis. It's really a story that says use the right data source and data sources in combination. Use the tools that are available to you and the data sources that have served you well for a very long time, but don't try to use packets for things packets were never intended for. Don't be overly reliant on a dashboard full of KPIs that may raise more questions than answers. And to the extent you can, leverage intelligent automated analysis to help you get to the problem domain and root cause as efficiently as possible. I did want to mention just one other thing in wrapping up here. We recently saw that one of our new customers, University of Utah and Utah Health, published this article. It was not requested of us. They just did this on their own to tell their users and their patients about why they made an investment in Viavi and the problems that they were looking forward to solving using our technology. So I mentioned that there in case you're interested in reading that. And that's all I had for today, Ron. I'm happy to answer any questions if we have time for that. But in any event, thanks for all who joined.